All right, y'all. So Easter is really right around the corner. Like as of when this video is being put together and going to be posted, it's probably going to be a matter of a couple of days before Easter. So I figured, one, some of you know, my wife and I, we've been in ministry for many, many years. And so, of course, you know, that's an area that is very important to me. But now that I'm in this fragrance space as well, I figured, you know what, let me give you some fragrances from my collection that might be ideal for an Easter Sunday worship experience, or even just a Sunday worship experience when you're going to church or whatever you may be doing. All right. So I've got 12 of them, and I'll give you the breakdown of what what I'm doing with them. I'll give them to you right after this. All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, and this is SmellGoodz. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit as we run through more of this fragrance content, give you another list of fragrances that might be ideal for the situation we're going to talk about today. As you all just might know, again, I am in ministry. My wife and I have been in ministry for many, many years. And so I figured let's kind of marry the two as far as this video, giving you some things that might work well as you're heading over to your local church, your local house of worship, whether it's your church or whether you're going and hanging out with mom and them or cousin or whomever, your grandma, whomever you might be going to church with. Important thing I think is just take a visit, find a nice church, what have you. All right. So I wanted to give you 12 fragrances that are going to work very well for that type of environment. When I'm thinking about these fragrances, these are fragrances that are not going to be overpowering. They're going to be attention getting, but not attention grabbing, if that makes sense. In other words, they're going to be fragrances that people that smell you are going to think you smell great, but they're not going to be ones that are room fillers in many respects. They're also not going to be ones that can be distracting fragrances. And these are also going to be fragrances that aren't going to be what I call intentional fragrances. These are not going to be ones that might be, for getting some other things going. These are going to be just nice fragrances that might be akin, if we're honest, might be akin to office fragrances as well. All right. So I'm going to give them to you. I've got 4 categories. We're going to do designer. We'll do niche. We'll do Cologne or our Middle Eastern brands. And then we'll do budget. All right. And I've got 3 of them in each of those categories as I run through them. All right. Not in any particular order. These are just as I've collected them, as I put them into their categories. This is how I'm going to give them to you. All right. First one up is no surprise. It is one that is a very, very, very versatile fragrance. One that I think works in a variety of situations, whether it is dressed up or dressed down, whether it is hanging out, whether it is going to work, whether it is date night. This is a fragrance that I think just works in a variety of situations. And so in my opinion, Easter Sunday, church should not be any exception. I am talking about from the house of Chanel. I am talking Bleu de Chanel. And this is the parfum, just nice woody aromatic scent that works very well, like I said, in a variety of situations. So this one goes without saying. It's almost a no-brainer. This is kind of on every list, even if it's not in the list. But this is in that list that I'm going to put out today. All right. So again, Bleu de Chanel, parfum. Next one up is from the house of Hermes. And this one is Terre d'Hermes Eau Intense Vetiver. This is citrus vetiver, so some of that wood, some of that earthiness, some of that citrus that kind of runs through this. This is a fragrance that just the way it's, for me, sits off of my skin, the way it just kind of lays there. It is a great scent that works in an environment like church because it is a compliment getting fragrance, but it is not one that again overpowers the room. It is not one that is a distraction. It's just a nice masculine type of scent that works in that environment. So again, from our designer list, we have Terre d'Hermes Eau Intense Vetiver. And then the third one in our designer list, from Ralph Lauren, this is Ralph's Club, and this is the Elixir. This one, I know you've got lavender. I want to say there's a little leather in here. This is just another masculine scent, a little different as far as the other two, whereas the other two are very nice aromatic. This is a little denser, a little heavier, but still is a nice scent that just packs a punch with it. So, and I like the flip top of this, right? Nice. But again, Ralph's Club Elixir, is another one that you might consider for your Easter Sunday worship experience. All right. Next up, let's run into our niche fragrances. These are all the ones that are from niche houses. First one up should come as no surprise if you've been on my channel for any period of time. You know kind of my affection towards this house as a niche house. And then you probably know my affection towards this particular fragrance just as one of the top ones in that lineup anyway. I'm talking about from the house of Mancera. This is Cedrat Bois. This has been, when I got this was one that I was like, yeah, this is it, right? This is one that will probably be in my collection. And if I run out, it's going to be replaced. I've got another one in here that is kind of that same thing. If it runs out, it's going to be replaced. This one is just nice. I know some people put it in the space of Creed Aventus. I get the comparison. I get kind of where they might say it's in the vein. It's in the vein, but it's its own thing. This isn't a clone of it, in my opinion. This is just its own thing in that space. Similar DNA, but this right here just works very well as a fragrance that I've worn to church. Y'all know that this is one that when I'm about to take a trip and I'm running to the airport, I may not take the bottle with me, but this is kind of the one that I wear for that as well. But if you're looking for a nice Easter scent or for Sunday worship experience, Cedrat Bois by the House of Mancera is one to consider as well. All right, next up from the niche framework as well is one that admittedly, normally I think of this as an evening intentional scent, but that's not so much because it's a seductive fragrance as much as it is a fragrance that is just a masculine type fragrance. And so this is one that, in all honesty, in the right environment would definitely be a date night scent. But I also thought, hey, this might be something that I might wear for a Sunday worship experience. I think I've worn this to ministering one time. This is just from the house of Chris Collins. This is Danse Sauvage. I know you've got some, I want to say plum in this. You've got some oud in this. You've got some, I want to say rum in this. But this is just nice masculine scent, woodsy scent that, yes, in the right environment would work very well for a date night. But I also think for a Sunday worship experience, just as a man wearing something that wants to wear something, you suit it up, what have you, want something that is going to be a little not fruity. You want something that is going to be kind of solid masculine. You can't go wrong with this. Again, from Chris Collins, this is Danse Sauvage. All right. And then the last one from our niche lineup is going to be from the house of Xerjoff. This is Xerjoff's Mephisto. Let's get it to focus right there. There we go. There we go. All right. Apologize about that. But this is Mephisto. Now what's interesting about this, looking at the notes, there's not any sea or aquatic notes that I could see or detect in this, but you do get this strong sense of like, you get the citrus in this, but you also get like this aquatic kind of oceanic scent with this. Think Creed's Silver Mountain Water, kind of in that space, right? Not a clone of it, but it's in that space if you're wanting to kind of have a frame of reference for your nose. This, again, for me, just is a nice one for the spring, even going into summer months. Nice fragrance that sticks around, but is not overpowering, not distracting. So if you're looking for another one, this is Mephisto from Xerjoff. All right. Now we're going to move into our clone or Middle Eastern brands. And so we're going to first start off with one that is a clone cover remix, or whatever you want to put it, of Raja's Elysium. And this is from Fragrance World. This is Imperium. You can even see that bottle design is pretty much spot on as a clone of Elysium, I should say. But you've got citrus. I want to say there's grapefruit. I want to say there's lemon in this. There's just a nice citrus, refreshing type of fragrance that works well, suited or booted, however you want to put it. This is a fragrance that works very well. Does feel and smell like it punches above its weight class. This is one that you're probably going to be able to get for like $15, $20, maybe $25 max. But it is one that I definitely think can work very well for an Easter Sunday worship experience. Imperium by Fragrance Row. All right. Next one up is one that recently came into my collection and one that I've been wearing a lot of recently. Video or two ago, I put it in, I had this in another list and I listed it as something else, as a clone of something else. Thanks for those of you all in the comments that were like, no, that's not what that's doing. I got it. You're right. I just misspoke. But this one is from Lattafa. This is Art of Universe. And this is doing its take on Blue Talisman by Ex Nihilo. And this does a pretty good job of cloning it. A little sweeter than Blue Talisman. But this right here, you've got just, again, nice citrus, refreshing smell that works in this environment that we're talking about. So something else that you might consider for your church worship experience. This is something that you can get your hands on. Check it out. Again, Art of Universe by Lattafa. And then the last one in our clone / Middle Eastern space. This one, it's doing its take on another Creed Aventus. It is doing its take on Creed Absolute Aventus. This is Supremacy Collector's Edition. This is more of a twist, in my opinion, of the two, of that fragrance, but just definitely works very well. Again, this is another one I've worn to work, I've worn to church, and something that I think definitely, if you're talking about your Sunday worship, your Easter Sunday, something else that you might want to put on your radar. Again, Supremacy Collector's Edition by Afnan. All right. Now I've got 3 that are budget. And when I say budget, I'm talking about all of these I think are easily under $60. With most of them, probably you'll be able to find under $50, especially if you know how to know where to shop. And in fact, let me know in the comments if you want a video of where some different places to shop as far as fragrances, just because I think that's something that we kind of assume, but maybe I'll do a video on places to shop for your fragrances so that you can save yourself money. Remember, friends don't let friends buy retail. Sorry. All right, let's jump into it. These are all of my budget fragrances, and in fact, 2 of them are from the same house, but we'll kind of address that and talk to that. All right, first one up is from Salvatore Ferragamo, the shoemaker, if you will. I think that's what I know them for, is shoes. But this was Aqua Essential Blue. You're my boy, Blue. All right, so this one it's not intended, in my opinion, as a clone. It's not, but if you wanted a frame of reference for this one, this kind of gives me Bleu de Chanel vibes. Not saying it's a clone, not saying it's exactly what have you, but if you want something that's in that space, but in a budget realm, something that can work in a variety of situations. And again, we're talking Easter Sunday. This one is one that I know you can probably pick up really, really inexpensively. I think I've even seen this over at like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, but Salvatore Ferragamo, this is Aqua Essential Blue. All right. Next one up for your Easter Sunday consideration is going to be one that has been, this is, I think, my 3rd bottle of this, just because even before I jumped into being a fragrance enthusiast, collector, whatever you want to call it, I like this fragrance. I really enjoyed it. Definitely one that, again, will probably be in my collection forever, right? Even as I grow my collection, even as I have other fragrances, this is one that I'll probably always have a bottle on hand, at least, somewhere in my collection. This is from the House of Mont Blanc. This is Mont Blanc Explorer. This is, and again, before I even really jumped into really understanding fragrances and jumped into the space of figuring out and collecting all those fun things, I enjoyed it before I knew kind of what it was under the radar, a take on, which is Creed Aventus. It's almost, I would almost classify this as a clone of Creed Aventus. But this does a great job. Compliment getter. In fact, this is one of the fragrances that is eternally a compliment getter in my collection as well. So this is, again, something else you might consider for your Sunday worship, your Easter Sunday experience. We're talking Mont Blanc Explorer. All right. And the last one from our budget fragrance, as far as our category that we have of things that you might consider wearing for your Easter Sunday worship experience. Again, from the House of Mont Blanc, this one is Legend Blue. Legend Blue. This one is the nice blue fragrance, so it means it works in a variety of situations. But this one it adds a little something as far as just the mint and the lavender. That mint just kind of gives it a little more of a refreshing note within it. But also something that I think, again, Easter Sunday, after you've hit the sunrise service, after you may have had, if your church is serving breakfast, and then you hear the message, and then you're going out, maybe you go grab something to eat, you go to grandma's house, you get some ham and some greens and all the other, and macaroni and cheese and all the other stuff you might have for your Easter Sunday dinner. This will definitely last through it. Again, Mont Blanc Legend Blue as another one for your consideration for your Easter Sunday fragrance. All right, that's it. I've given you a total of 12 fragrances for niche, for designer, for budget, and for Cologne/Middle Eastern. So I think you got some options there. Let me know your thoughts. Do me the favor, as always, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good. And then, because again, my wife and I, we are in ministry. And so if you want some of that content, you can definitely, I've got it tagged up here. You can definitely click that and see some of the things that my wife and I do as far as ministry. And then do me the honor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notifications, share. And then also YouTube is about to show you a video right here that is going to be things that they recommend that you watch based upon your viewing patterns and things that they think are going to be helpful. And then right here, I've got a video that I think will work well for you as well, from my collection of things that you might want to check out as well. All right, that's it. See y'all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed. Peace.